Volusia County leaders now say this year's hurricanes caused about $1 billion in damage. And as crews continue to save homes along the coast, we wanted to know what's the best way to rebuild.
Yeah, with the changing climate, what do engineers and scientists think should be done to prevent a repeat when the next storm hits? In tonight's Forecasting Change report, News 6 investigator Eric Sandoval searches for answers.
3 weeks after Hurricane Nicole hit, crews are working to build up the beach and install new seawalls in Wilbur by the Sea. This is an area where nearly a dozen homes collapsed and more are in danger. How do you rebuild? That's A.J. Rockwell. He and his team at Sea Level Development installed these supports that are literally holding up homes and even a swimming pool.
He wants to rebuild this. This was his home. He lived here. He wants to rebuild this house. He can't start rebuilding this house until we have a seawall and we have this elevation reestablished to where more sand so he can rebuild his house.
News 6 investigated, and the problem with the sand started here before Ian and Nicole hit. In fact, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection declared 22 miles of Volusia County coastline, including Wilbur by the Sea, as critically eroded for years. That means the ocean has eaten so much sand, there's not much beach left.
That really means asking some tough questions about rebuilding.
Dr. Sid Narayan is not only an assistant professor at East Carolina University, he is also a coastal engineer. He warns 2 hurricanes hitting so close together like Ian and Nicole could become more likely as the climate continues to warm. So how we rebuild makes a difference.
Do we sort of really go all out and strengthen everything to the point that it can withstand 2 or 3 hurricane impacts? But then the flip side of that is, what does that mean for what the coast would look like for us?
He says one option is rebuilding with nature, like the Dutch did with their sand motor. This beach renourishment on steroids experiment created an entire island off the coast of the Netherlands to act as a barrier to storm surge. In North Carolina, new housing codes there require homes to be set back farther off the beach to prevent hurricane damage. He also says planting more mangroves can help. Florida Emergency Management Director Kevin Guthrie says mangroves in Fort Myers Beach knocked 15-foot storm surge down to 6 feet. Volusia County leaders are asking for guidance from the state. In a letter to the governor obtained by News 6, the county council asks for additions and modifications to the governor's emergency order that they say would armor the shoreline and structures from more impacts. When it comes to Florida, Narayan says there's no one model to follow, and it's going to take time.
I think that the answer is ultimately going to be a mix of these solutions, and that mix is going to be tailored for each context.
And it's going to take time. We asked Volusia County about changing the rules for how close to the water a home can be built, and they told us right now they don't see a need to change that rule. What they are doing is asking the state to speed up the permit process so the rebuilding effort, whatever that looks like, can start quickly. Guys.
Boy, when you see just how much has been eaten away, it just breaks your heart. That sand is vital to Volusia County's economy.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
You know, Volusia County is one of the few areas where you can actually drive on the beach. Right now, in some areas, you can barely walk on the beach, let alone drive. So building these beaches back in a way that they don't erode quickly is a key for tourism and, of course, for the people who live there. But again, we want to see long-term solutions and not just a Band-Aid where we're going to have sand one day, but then the high tide comes and wipes it all away.
Yeah, it's really a complex problem.
It really is.
Such an issue. Hopefully, we as people can figure it out.
Hope so.
Quickly.
Great
Eric
story,
Sandoval,
though.
very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.